years ago, we worked together as a community to create Destination Excellence, our 5-year plan to make sure that every single student in Tulsa receives a world-class public education. We set forth a series of activities and goals and projects that we wanted to do to take the great work already happening here in Tulsa and make it even better. I'm very excited to share that we saw incredible gains in our graduation rates again. We had a 5 percentage point increase in our graduation rate, which is now 72.5%.
All of the effort and time and commitment to these students paid off.
I had some great leadership in the past. We just continue to keep rolling and making gains.
And I was thankful for the people that work at our school.
Really, the system's starting to turn into a fine-oiled machine.
Now we know we have a long way to go. We want all of our students in Tulsa Public Schools to earn their high school diploma. We know the country's graduation rate on average is 83%. So we know we have work to do, but we're very pleased with the momentum that we've seen here in Tulsa.
Well, we work on that graduation rate all year long. We work to make sure that our kids have individualized attention so that they can get through high school successfully.
Principal Shelley Holman and the team at Webster saw an increase of 14.7 percentage points.
We are the leaders. We're actually trailblazers in a system that we use called an early warning indicator system. And we look at students and make sure that they are on track with attendance, behavior, and coursework, the simple ABCs. And once we identify those students that are in jeopardy of one of those 3 things, not meeting the expectations or the goals, then we make sure that someone champions that student. By champion, I mean they follow up, they talk to the student, they meet with a parent, we bring them into the admin team and the support team.
Principal Nikki Dennis and the Rogers Ropers increased their graduation rate by 12.6 percentage points.
So one of the things that we really did is make sure that every kid was really cognizant of where they were and how many credits they'd earned and how many credits they needed. The other thing we did is really ratchet up the conversations with parents. And I think getting parents in the door and having them sit down and find out what the kid needs to graduate, and having the kid and the parent at the table with the principal and the counselor makes a huge difference.
Principal Jason Gilly and the Central High School team had an 8.1 percentage point increase in graduates.
One thing we do is we really focus on relationships. That's more so like, hey, I care about you. I want to know you as a student as a whole, not just your academics. I want to know what's going on in your life. I want to have an impact on you. We don't want to just be their teacher. We want to be, I want to be Mr. Gilly inside the school and outside the school. I want you to know who Mr. Gilly is. I want you to see me in the community. Graduate to Greatness is a program in which every senior has a mentor teacher that they are coached with through all of their high school requirements.
Principal Michelle Butler and her teachers and staff worked to increase the graduation rate at the Tulsa Met by 16.7 percentage points.
What we did was meet the students where they are. We took a very serious look at the courses they were missing, the amount of time it was going to take, and came up with an individualized plan for each student. And then we met with the student and their parent and laid it out. There was no mystery. It was very clear. They knew exactly what they had to get done. They were far too close to quit.
And the team at McLean saw a 12.2 percentage point increase on graduation. And I know that Principal John Williams and his team are excited to continue that excellent work. Our teachers and school leaders kept a relentless focus on making sure that every single student had the supports needed to be successful. And almost every one of our secondary schools saw gains in their graduation rate.
I don't want to make high school graduation our goal. I want to go beyond that. I want to make sure that kids have a plan for how they want to have their livelihood, how they want to be successful, how they want to be happy. We don't fail because we aim high and miss. We fail because we aim low and hit.
Powerful learning experiences require exceptional teachers, strong curriculum, and high-quality texts and other classroom materials.
You can see they're enjoying it.
It's all about building vocabulary and background knowledge and getting exposed to things that they might never be exposed to.
It was so exciting, and the teachers, I tell them, you get out of it what you put into it. And that's my motto. It's your boat, you make it float.
I'm seeing big turnarounds. They're being able to sound out their words.
The students like doing the Amplify much better than they liked a traditional textbook.
It's a very good curriculum because it starts with the basics and just gradually comes up, and it doesn't skip anything.
To increase academic rigor and advance student achievement, our teachers worked with new curricula for English language arts, Amplify, and Core Knowledge. Over the year, we visited classrooms to understand these new resources and how they were being used. And by the end of the year, we saw an increase from 32% to 63% of classes where students were engaging with high-quality texts, far surpassing our original goal at 42%.
When we talk about growth, it's not just reading scores that we're seeing growth, it is their identity as a reader is growing.
We're meeting them truly on like a personalized level. We know exactly where each student is with the assessments, and you're meeting them right where they need to be met in order to fill those gaps.
It is challenging for the students, it's challenging for the teacher, but if you just put it as a communal activity, we're learning this together, it is amazing what happens in my classroom.
Christy Harmon, Stephanie Peppers, Leslie Parr, and Rebecca Halfacre are just a few of the teachers who are seeing success in their classrooms.
It really helps them having these real literature-based passages to compare their writing with.
It really starts with the basics of reading in kindergarten.
Such a structure to it that any teacher can come in and teach it.
Amplify ELA is an all online curriculum for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Exposing them to more complex ideas and things of such, and the kids seem to love the curriculum.
First graders cannot read complex text, but they can listen and discuss complex text. Phonics and letter sounds, and like building that really strong foundation of reading so that they can eventually get to the point, you know, when they're in 3rd and 4th grade, that they can read the complex text.
The stories, like in listening and learning, they're so engaging. The kids love them. And what happens is, like, if you're in kindergarten, you get a certain part kind of the story or the genre, and then the next year you get another part, and it just builds on each other.
So their writing is showing great improvement because we're not just sitting here giving them rules to write. They get to see it, and then they get to practice.
The stories are stories that the kids enjoy. They're not bored with them, they're not just laying down in their chairs.
They are writing more, they're writing deeper, they're writing their thoughts, they're more thoughtful and reflective in their writing too.
Some are classics, and some are just some texts that are at a much higher level than what they have been used to reading.
They have seen the growth of the students, and they are happy.
The students feel like they're learning much more by doing the Amplify than what they did last year.
We're going to start seeing a lot of gains in 2 to 3 years because it just starts with very, very basic things in kindergarten.
It helps the kids who may be struggling readers, like they can feel successful. They can participate. They don't have to be able to read the book. We all listened to the book. We all talked about it. They can feel successful in a way that they might not ever feel successful.
We did not move the needle last year on student attendance. We wanted to, we know we needed to. We know it's incredibly important for student achievement and success. And we had plans, we had efforts underway.
Transportation is one of those hindrances to attendance.
Oftentimes what we hear from our students is that the parents are either dropping off late or can't get the students to school. Period.
Like anything, poor attendance can become a bad habit.
And it's so very important that we put a lot more time into communication to our schools, information and communication to our families.
What we found when we looked back into this to see what happened was we had a number of different teams working on this effort, but we didn't have clear ownership. We didn't have the kind of coordination that we really needed in order to see the change.
We definitely knew that attendance was critical. I think that just having a department to say, all right, part of our day and work is going to be dedicated to strategic planning around attendance, lifting it to a level where all schools are getting a common message.
Every day, every student that's absent, we're making a phone call.
The counselor sees whether the kids are there or not. If they're not there, they give them a phone call. Why weren't you here? What's up?
Put a laser-like focus on our students who are missing school, and for whatever reasons those are, finding out the why behind why our students are not coming, and then exactly what it is that we need to do to support our families with getting students to school every day.
This school provides emotional supports, counselors, therapists, and teachers that will work with the students.
As I used to tell my students, mistakes are wonderful opportunities to learn. So we've made changes there. We've increased clarity and ownership and focus. We're continuing some of the same activities, but we have actually even some new ones as well.
Some of them, there are needing resources to help them get to school, so we can offer a number of things, like obviously if a student has an ID, they can ride the Metro bus anytime.
Tulsa Transit is definitely an option, just them better understanding how to use that and utilize that. Also better understanding how the bus system in Tulsa Public, just our transportation works.
I think one of the other things is that partnership with the county. They provide the transportation from the main bus hub. Sometimes they'll provide transportation from the house.
And so what we're doing this year with a cross-functional team led by Executive Director of Student and Family Support Services, Dr. Ebony Johnson, is to continue some strong efforts to add some new actions and, importantly, better coordinate to increase student achievement.
So we've been able to bring in various departments. So we have a cross-functional team of individuals. All of the principals have set either an aggressive goal around attendance, an incremental goal around attendance, or a moderate goal of increasing attendance.
We are seeing that more students are getting here and more students are getting here on time.
I just don't think that that amount of time and effort was put in last year, and it is being done now.
Some of the programs that they have instituted have been really good.
Making sure our attendance clerks can really read the dashboard and know how to use that. Our parent facilitators are being trained. Our principals have been trained.
The parent facilitator has been huge. We're looking at those dashboards. The attendance office has been huge in helping to look at those dashboards to see who the students are that we need to focus on.
One of the great things we have here that we can learn from each other within the district is to work as a team, and it takes a really wraparound approach to be successful.
To already see that some schools are making those gains, like Nathan Hill.
That's the best reward. I mean, that's the best reward. You know, there's nothing better, because you know that you might have helped that student change their path and become successful and happier as a person. So you can't beat that.
Before we started this journey to Destination Excellence, we saw out-of-school suspensions resulting in 8,000 suspensions. And so we set a goal of a decrease of out-of-school suspensions of 5%. We actually ended up the year with a decrease of 26.5%.
We have seen a great turn in regard to students gaining knowledge about controlling their own outcomes.
We found that many times our students that were having trouble being successful in class behaviorally had other situations that were external, things that didn't really have much to do with school.
Now we know that out-of-school suspensions are sometimes necessary, but we wanted to be sure that our school teams worked to identify and create alternatives to suspensions that provide appropriate behavioral interventions while keeping our students learning.
We created an area called our Success Center, and instead of kicking the kids out, for an example, it could be any suspendable offense. Instead of saying, okay, you're going home, no, you're getting placed in the Success Center for 3 or 5 or 10 days.
We have a social worker that has been really proactive in connecting with families and doing home visits to identify resources that the school can help with and supports that we can put in place. We also use some of our title money to purchase an academic engagement teacher, and she has been instrumental in helping students that need to be out of the classroom to develop strategies to successfully re-enter and be able to sustain through restorative practices. Giving students a place just to calm down, learning how to recognize their emotions.
Eugene Field Elementary, East Central High School, and McClure Elementary are just a few of the schools that use restorative practices to reduce out-of-school suspensions.
I think one of the unique things about it is that I put it in four certified teachers in the core subjects. And usually it's like a 1-to-8 ratio, so those kids really get a lot of more closer teaching than maybe a normal classroom, which they need.
Sometimes a student doesn't need to be in class. Sometimes that's not the safest place for them to be. So the things that we've already done, we're going to continue, but I think the strongest step we can take next is to continue to invest in our teachers, to build their capacities. I have 13 new teachers to my building this year. It's hard to learn multiple methodologies for the first time, and McClure's a hard place to start. But I'm confident we have the people that share our mindset, and so I know they'll get there.
Teaching is without a doubt the best job in the world, but it is also extraordinarily difficult. We know also that those first few years are even more challenging. Nationally, 50% of new teachers leave the classroom within the first 5 years. We lose new teachers. And so we knew that here in Tulsa Public Schools, we needed to make an extra effort to put supports in for our brand new teachers, to help them to be successful in their work, but also to ensure that more of them, because of that success and because of the support, more of them were staying in our classrooms every year.
Teaching is really difficult, but it's a very joyous job if you bring the right kind of enthusiasm and passion into it. And it was difficult, but TPS also provided me with a mentor teacher, and I have a great administration here and a lot of support from other teachers at my site. So that made the transition from college life into actual teaching much easier, I think, than maybe some other people experienced.
Some obstacles that I faced mainly were, I think, classroom management. I struggled in it a little bit because the simple fact that when you're in college they teach you how to teach. They don't necessarily teach you how to deal with behavior issues and that kind of thing. And then also one thing I struggled with was helping kids who aren't necessarily on grade level. It didn't catch me off guard, but that was an obstacle.
We also know that Oklahoma has a massive teacher shortage. We are not, as a state, doing what we need to do for our teachers and to support them and to compensate them as the professionals they are. And because we lose so many novice teachers, we wanted to focus on our novice teachers. So we set an explicit goal that we are going to increase our retention of our novice teachers by 3 percentage points. Now, unfortunately, even though 95% of our novice teachers indicated they were satisfied with the supports that we were providing them in their early years, we were not able to meet our goal of increasing our retention of novice teachers by 3 percentage points.
There have been a few times where, after some rough days, it's kind of, why am I here? And then I start thinking to myself, it's because the kids.
There were times when I didn't know if I made the right decision to go into education. For example, last year was my second year, and this was a consensus throughout the district. It was just a really rough year for most teachers due to budget cuts, due to limited staff in the building and teachers just being out.
Financial reasons are a big factor. They're simply not receiving salaries that make it manageable for them to continue teaching and it be the only job that they have.
So as a result of missing the mark on that particular goal, we've amped up our efforts even more and included additional supports for our brand new teachers. And we're just going to do even more to double down on making sure that our new teachers know that Tulsa is a great place to be, that the supports are there for them, and that we want them to stay here as a part of Team Tulsa.
We offer professional development opportunities for them on an ongoing basis, both pre-service before they start, and then ongoing throughout the year.
The no-nonsense nurturing one that they did last summer changed my life. I implemented it last year and saw fantastic results.
My favorite thing now is when I'm able to positive narrate. I have just learned that it's just a tool that can turn a classroom of 20 kids all on their own agenda.
With my mentor teacher, she recommended several professional development sessions that I went to, and I was able to train with her and several other teachers and instructional coaches over the summer after my first year. And that really, I think, pushed me and prepared me for my second year.
I definitely do it for the kids. I know where I'm needed, and this is the place where I think I should be, and where I want to be more than that.
Our district office here at Tulsa Public Schools exists only to be in service. That's why we're here. We're here to make sure that those closest to our children are successful. And unfortunately, we've missed the mark on this work. We have made it a focus of our efforts here in Tulsa Public Schools, but we are still not getting that particular work done yet.
Teachers want to know, like, what are we aiming for, right?
Asking them, what is it that you need and want?
For teachers and principals and ultimately the students to feel supported.
We've heard from our teachers and school leaders, and we've listened. We're putting their feedback and insights into practice. This year, we're holding regular district days of service
to help them in getting prepared for schools. One in which we're thinking about around test time, so we can be helpful for the proctors and make sure they have what they need. We are listening. We are here, and to make sure that everyone feels valued, everyone feels like they have a part, and that we're all in this together, because we are Team Tulsa.
We've also launched a service culture initiative across the entire district office.
We set out to do 4 teacher institutes. We did large groups of like groups. So for example, we put all the 2nd grade teachers in the district in one room, and our feedback was less than stellar. What we found out pretty quickly is that teachers didn't like the big groups. Listening to teachers' feedback on the smaller group sizes and more intimate settings really leads to a much more productive professional learning for teachers.
Throughout our district, teachers, school leaders, and staff are using our 15 data dashboards to leverage real-time data to inform decision-making.
So the data dashboards are created from the ground up, in collaboration with teachers and principals.
They were created to pull all of the data that we have from different systems.
Yeah, I love this.
To one place for teachers.
Really a one stop to get all my data on. It's very convenient.
I just found it really easy to use, and so it's actually bookmarked on my browser here, so I can just click on it, sign in, and find what I need to find.
Went out to principals, asked what's working, what's not, what do we need to change?
I think it's just going to make it easier to identify areas where we're weak as a district.
At Tulsa Public Schools, we've really sought to say we're going to find problems where they originated and then work through them.
We accept the fact that we do not know near as much about what principals and teachers need as principals and teachers do.
We've aligned our staffing, services, and programs around the needs of our schools. And we've had a serious focus now on how customer service is going to be at the core of everything we do. We must continue to improve. We must do more, even with less.
Really honing in on the resources that teachers use daily in their classrooms and being very targeted and specific about the professional learning that we bring to them.
And there will be training for district office staff in the upcoming future so we can improve the customer service and improve district office service culture throughout the year. So this is just the beginning. You haven't seen anything yet.
We are absolutely committed to continuous growth and improvement. And I'm really excited to see the way in which a laser-like focus on customer service, combined with a modernized district office, can better serve our teachers and students in Tulsa, and therefore result in improved academic achievement for all of our students. We had a wonderful first year of implementation of Destination Excellence. We saw tremendous successes, and we had areas where we didn't make the progress that we wanted to make, but really good work was happening. So we're going to take all of that. We're going to take what worked, what didn't work, what we learned, and we're going to use all of that to make sure that year 2 of Destination Excellence is even better.